Hello, namaste. This is Tim Halloran. I'm an astrologer here in Savannah, Georgia. This is a weekly astrological forecast. I put these videos on YouTube once a week. You can help support future videos by purchasing a reading from me at the link below. It is the 21st of January. That's a Wednesday. And it must be Mercury retrograde because this is day 2, take 3 of this video. So I'm going to begin this rant with a personal story, because I keep getting the message that I need to be sharing my personal, subjective, intimate stories with you in order to best understand the types of energies and, bring it down to a human level. That's kind of what I'm all about. Instead of the whole, I'm going to be perfect and you follow me in my shoes, that's kind of boring. Everybody does that. So it's kind of more like, watch me fall on my face because it's a little more entertaining, and then hopefully you don't have to as badly, kind of thing. All right. So yesterday I gave this entire beautiful report. It must have been the very best report that's ever been uttered by these lips. Yes? And in this report I was talking about on behalf of the entire astrological community. I would like to remind you that Mercury retrograde does not mean that technology breakdowns is what it's all about. Yes, Mercury retrograde is about slowing down, going into the past, rewinding the tapes, and doing things and thinking about things differently, which often can use technology malfunctions, communication breakdowns as a catalyst for doing things differently, coming out a different way, yeah? And I say this feeling so good about it. And then as soon as the video's done, I realize that I had been talking to a camera that hasn't been recording. And my immediate reaction is one of extreme frustration, because I was so happy the way it came out, and then I tried to record it again. I went home and I edited it, and I had to reset, calm down, go through a whole 24 hours of questioning my existence. Yes, I'm a Gemini, I get affected by Mercury. I'm a 12th house Gemini, so I question my existence whenever this stuff happens. And then I have to reset, rewind, slow down, and come back to you now. And the message that I really got, the reason why we had to go through this process, because nothing happens without a reason. And I knew that, and that's why I was frustrated. I was frustrated because I knew it wasn't right on. And as a Gemini, my role is simply message delivery. It's very simple, one-way message delivery, that's it. And I messed up my job, and I felt really bad about it. I felt like a failure, and then I had to sit in that for so long. And the message that I got from this is, the most important thing these days is to make sure we are really tapping into our personal feelings. Yes, we had a new moon in Aquarius. The sun moved into Aquarius yesterday. We are initiating Aquarius season. And we're coming out of Capricorn season. As we said, this year things are kind of lined up. Around the full moon time, that's the beginning of a new month. New moons mean it's the beginning of a new zodiac sign. So we had our new moon. Aquarius season began yesterday. Now the previous month began on the December 21st winter solstice, the longest night of the year. We've had lots of Pluto. We had the Pluto-Uranus square going on a month ago. It's been a past month of very intense digging, of being down to the ground, practical, real, having to see things as they are, having to just kind of bust out the work. And now we're springing into Aquarius time. Mercury turns retrograde today, and this is the warning that we need to be careful not to get too far ahead of ourselves and to speed up really, really fast, because this is what Aquarius naturally likes to do. Aquarius is this very spontaneous, electrical, far out, gonna see as far out as we can go as soon as we can get there, yeah? And this is my own personal reflection on what's kind of gone on with me, is that, coming from the Capricorn energy, and a lot of us have Capricorn wounds because Capricorn kind of embodies the energy of the old patriarchy. Yes, that is kind of this prison-like energy that we all want to get free from. And we're moving into the age of Aquarius, which is this age of liberation. And you know what? A lot of us are kind of intuitively know why we're here and what we're getting to, and we want to get there ASAP. And this can be tough because it's like coming out of the Capricorn energy and springing into Aquarius. We have to be careful that we aren't so quickly liberating ourselves that it leads straight into escapism. Yeah? Because it's like, get me off this planet. I'm going to run as far as I can. I'm going to get away from here, yeah? Aquarius is like the galaxy, the solar system, you know. It's like, let's get far out. Let's stop paying attention to the world, to our personal affairs, to the little dramas. Let's just, you know what? I'm going to start doing my spiritual thing, yeah? We have Mars conjunct Neptune. This is our willpower is very aligned with the collective will, which is a very, positive thing, I think, in some respects, because we can align ourselves with our spiritual duty and all these things. But the key is to not get so far carried away that we skip so many steps. And this is why we must tune into our feelings. We must tune into our particular, individual, subjective story. Yes? So this next moon cycle is the Aquarius season that in 2 weeks is leading up to a full moon in Leo. And we have the Aquarius-Leo polarity. And what this polarity is really about is Aquarius is the interconnectivity with everything. And we've got Mercury in Aquarius for the next 2 months doing this retrograde all the way until February 11th. Yep, so you can check 17 degrees to 1 degree Aquarius. That's where this retrograde is going to happen. Mercury being there for the next 2 months, it's like we have this incredible spaciousness, this objectivity that's like pulling way back, and we can see everything kind of like a topographical map. And this is an incredibly auspicious point of view for many reasons. And I think one of the best reasons is that this gives us the ability to draw out paths and to, create a map. This is my consciousness. This is the human body, I do have a physical body. I have an astral body that travels around different realms when I sleep. And it's like, we are moving into an age where we are rapidly expanding our awareness of all these different planes, of all these different levels of consciousness, of reality, of what it means to be a human being. I had several people contact me this week inquiring about the recent discovery of new planets beyond Pluto. This is why Pluto got demoted. They keep finding more planets, so now they are calling them dwarf planets, trans-Neptunians. And really what this is showing us, as within, so without, is our consciousness is very rapidly expanding. Beginning with Uranus is kind of when I see at the beginning of this Aquarian age, the discovery of Uranus in the late 1700s led to the invention of electricity, the Industrial Revolution. Now we have the internet, and everything is very, very, very rapidly expanding, and it's getting very, very difficult not to see the whole picture. And now we have this very interesting polarity of us as individuals coming from a particular history, particular upbringing, particular culture, particular religion, and we're moving into an age where things are getting more and more expansive. There's so many more pieces, it's so much more complicated, it's so much more deep, and this can be overwhelming in a number of ways. We can get really lost in all of this, yeah, and I think this is a real danger of entering this new age, and we can already see a lot of it in the new age movements, is people just want to expand so fast, get so far out so fast. Everything is interconnected, everything is multifaceted, everything is multidimensional. I mean, it just becomes so far out that we can easily lose touch with our individual, our subjective, our personal, our intimate reality. Yeah, and we see a lot of this, and I think it becomes is it becomes video gamey when it becomes overly Aquarius, We need to collect the 13 crystal skulls in order to enlighten the entire universe, Can you have the correct crystals and all this kind of thing? And I'm not discrediting that those are real valid things. But the whole point is it's kind of losing touch with the deeper root meaning of all this expansiveness. Yes, there is a core reason. It's like all of these branches that are becoming available to us are interconnected. They all do lead back to a similar tree trunk, yes? And many of us call this God, we call it love, we call it spirit, we call it source. Yeah, and it doesn't really matter what we call it because we know that we're all referring to the same thing, the original, the proprietor of all things, yes? And if we forget that all of the really far out stuff is rooted in that, it's like we can die, we lose our life, we become empty shells, and everything becomes meaningless and like video gamey. So we have to balance this Aquarius energy out with the subjectivity and the history and the story of Leo, which is the individual soul, the sun, which says that you have a particular history. You have so many lifetimes that have taught you so many things from so many experiences. And that is going to be entirely unique to you. Nobody else is going to possess the same story, the same acquired taste, the same preference of flavor, of art, of music. So of course there's going to be individual preferences. However, we are moving into an age where we cannot ignore the fact that there are all of these other dimensions, all of these other people with all of these other preferences. And so now we're kind of in this tumultuous time, global-wise, history-wise, where, there's still the religious wars going on. There's still, like, which culture is superior, and that we're still getting to this point of, oh, okay, you're a human being, I'm a human being. That is what is at the core. What does it mean to be a human being? Is it because of your race, your culture, your religion, your language, your way of expression? Everybody has a particular way to express. Yeah, this is like the Temple of Babel. Everyone's speaking different languages. And simultaneously, we are giving birth to a universal language at this time. And this is a key point, is that we really want to get there soon. Those of us who know what is going to come about through the distribution of universal understanding and language and all these things, we really want to get there soon, because it just is so many levels beyond this world. It's like paradise versus hell, okay? And we really want to get there, yes? But we can't so simply and easily just shoot there, because we are still in time where we are today. We have some aspects of the story to move through. There's more chapters. We're not just going to flip the book to the end. And I think that's a really key thing to remember these days, is that we have to slow down. We have to appreciate every little chapter. And we also have to understand that going back and redoing things doesn't make us a failure. Yeah, and that's a really tough one for myself personally to swallow, because this feeling of repeating, oh, I failed, I have to redo the video. That sucks. That means that was a waste of time. That means I did it wrong the first time. I should have known better, which is the same as making it a right versus wrong scenario, a success versus failure scenario. And that is discrediting the natural movement of things in life, because it's not right or wrong, fail or pass. It is evolution. And this is a story. This isn't just a scientific chemical evolution. It's not all numbers. It is also subjective. It's personal. It's flavorful. It's beautiful. And so us having to go back and repeat, going back and repeat, this is natural evolution. And Mercury Retrograde says you want to build a community that is going to be interconnected. We want to speak a universal language. We want to share our humanity with one another. And we want to explore what the depth of humanity really is, which is so much farther than what we have been taught to believe it is. But this does not happen overnight, yeah? We have all these different histories, and before we can all of a sudden reach the singularity where we can all share all of our histories and they're all in perfect union, yes, because a lot of this next moon cycle is about self-expression. We are exploring the totality of our history. This Mercury retrograde is taking us into the past. We're looking at past relationships. We're looking at events that happened years ago. We're apologizing to people we don't talk to about things that happened a long time ago. This is the natural movement of Mercury going back throughout our entire life from this kind of bird's eye view, and we can map out the past and the future, the underworld, the upper world, yes? And it's about making sure that these things are married, yeah? A lot of it's coming from the patriarchy. We want to move to the new age. We want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We don't need religion anymore. It's like Nietzsche, God is dead, And I'm not going to say that Nietzsche is wrong and everything, but it's kind of severe to say, we're just going to end it there and begin anew. This is not how evolution works. It is flowingly transforming. Therefore, it's not really a beginning and an end. It's a transmutation. Yeah, death is an illusion. You don't end at death. You transmute to a different dimension, a different state of being. Similarly, us moving from the old age, it's not just going to end, which means we can't just escape the old age. We need to be firmly planted where we are, and where we are, there is still a lot of the new age that we are still transmuting, yeah? And this last moon cycle, this last 2.5 years of Saturn in Scorpio, there's been a lot of digging and shadow work and pain coming up. And this is another reminder to all of you that wherever there is pain, that is transformation that's going on. This is why the message to you again is to be sure to listen to your feelings. Yeah? That feeling is going to be telling you your own personal story that is going to be revealing to you a deeper understanding of your history. And until we get the deeper understanding of our own story, why are we so particular in certain qualities? Why are we so defensive of this? Why does this hurt whenever this word is used, whenever this phrase is used? Why does this get me so fired up? You know, kind of like the shallow, new agey spirituality is don't feel bad things. Just be nice and happy all the time to everybody, you know. Set the right way to do it, you know. Oh, I'm a guru, follow me, everything's perfect. You have to tune into your feelings of discomfort and pain because it is there for a very good reason. Yeah, you're not feeling bad because you're a failure. You're feeling bad because your history is reminding you of something deep within yourself that would like to be brought to the surface. That way we can map it out. And by understanding our history, we can see how we can move into the future, yes? And this moon cycle is about planting, sowing the seeds of the future. And this has to do with self-expression. It has to do with sharing us in our full capacity, in our own individual beauty, in such a way that it actually enlightens and heals and brings together other people in love. Rather than it be my way or the highway, everybody look at me, I'm so awesome, by me expressing myself in my truest original position. I spread healing and light to the rest of the world. Because to be a human being in your individuality is spiritual. There is a spiritual reason behind every feeling, behind every story, behind every reaction. So be sure not to shove away any of those feelings or any of those reactions, to try to escape into the future, to try and shortcut into the future, to try and get away from a paradigm that's not going to end by you simply ignoring it. We have to be firmly grounded. We have to be present, yes? So this new moon that was yesterday at 8:14 a.m., the Sabian symbol is an old adobe mission in California. And what they're talking about is there's these old churches in California that are built out of adobe. So what this is about using the natural resources found in our environment to create a firmly grounded structure that is going to allow for the entire community in all of its diversity to stand under one roof and be sharing of our similar qualities, our human nature, and be protected from the rain, yes? This is a coming together, using what is available to us, our environment, not trying to, escape from what's around us. We're using what's here in our immediate environment. That means your story, your feelings, your past is relevant to the building of the new structure. We can't disregard the old. We have to include it because there's an abundance of resources that are there. And we are transforming and we are evolving the way in which we see ourselves and the universe and, all of these things as a community, as a human race. We are changing the way we see one another. Yeah, it's not going to be so much anymore. The way we can look at this is it's like in the old age, your particular name of God was the universal name of God. You lived in a part of India where God was Ram. You said Ram, everybody said Ram. There was no problem. That was the universal language. Now, the internet, everything's interconnected. And we say, oh, there's Ram, there's Krishna, there's Yeshua, there's Jehovah, there's Buddha, there's the goddess. It's like, okay, so now what? Okay, these are all names of God. Okay, it's all God, it's all the same thing. But was I a failure for saying Ram? Let's say I worshipped a particular form. Let's say it's Jesus on the crucifix, and now we're expanding to include all of these other forms of essentially the same thing, which are forms of love and wisdom that are incarnating in order to share themselves with the world. And we have a particular one that we resonate with that is a part of our history. Do we say, oh, I was wrong because I was worshiping this form of God and it's actually God is all forms? No, not at all. That is a part of your individuality. That is a part of your unique flavor and taste. You know, everybody's got a favorite color. Everybody can have their own favorite name. That is totally okay. We don't throw out the baby of the bathwater. We're not going to toss out all the old religions. We're going to look at all the old religions with a newfound sense of perception and appreciation as we move towards a future and a universe that's going to be even more expansive. That means that we don't lose sight of those things. Those things still exist, and there is more to the picture. So there's nothing wrong with seeing things a particular way and having a history of seeing things a particular way. Do not disregard that. Your particular way has knowledge, has wisdom, has truth in it. However, if we are going to coexist in a world where there is so many diverse ways, so many individual voices, we have to be accepting of all points of view. Aquarius is that there is not just one point of view, there is innumerable points of view. And you can look at the same thing from innumerable different perspectives, and you will see a totally different reality in each perspective. And this Mercury retrograde, this new moon in Aquarius, is giving us a full month, really a full 2 months of experimenting with all these different perspectives. Let's pull ourselves out of our body. Let's check out things from, the astral plane for a little while and come back down. Let's make contact with some of these, ethereal beings and then come back down. Let's research some of these new holistic medicines and astrology and all of these new forms of healing and service and medicine. Let's explore and experiment with these things. Are any of these disproving the underlying core reason for being? No. They are just more branches coming off of the tree, and we have permission now to see more of the tree, to embrace more of the tree, and to include more of the tree in our reality. And in the process, our understanding and appreciation of love is increasing and expanding. Love is always increasing and expanding. So our own appreciation and understanding of love is evolving. It's getting even more complicated, even more far out, and simultaneously even more beautiful and profound and powerful. I mean, this is how it really is. This is like, you can't keep love in a tiny little box. It's going to expand, yeah? It's going to start including everything, because this is what love does. It starts to expand and it includes everything. Nothing gets pushed away. All inclusiveness, all inclusiveness, all inclusiveness. Now, this doesn't mean that you get too far out and you start living in video game reality and I'm going to start loving everybody unconditionally. I'm going to accept everything that comes into my experience and I'm never going to feel anything wrong, or I'm never going to get pissed off by anybody. Oh, you have a good reason to get pissed off at people. When you get pissed off, pay attention to those feelings. Go inside of yourself, understand what grinds your gears, understand the personal history, the individual history that makes you have those feelings, because that is simultaneously your gift of expression that you have to give back to the world. And if something really pisses you off, if something makes you feel really bad, that is your opportunity to express those things. Yeah? So it's like this whole report, having to redo it. Now I have the opportunity to use myself as an example of how things can get messed up. And you know what? That's good, because I'm taking something that otherwise would be considered a failure and I'm putting it into service of talking to you guys. So at least I get to share it with you. Now it's a funny story. Before it was just a shitty day. Now it's a funny story. Yeah? So let's embrace all our feelings, even if they're negative. Include that with our all-inclusiveness. Include all of your feelings, all of your thoughts, even if they're negative. Pay attention to that ego. Don't kill off your ego. You're not going to kill off your ego. You trying to kill off your ego is going to make it even more pissed off and inflated, and it's just going to dominate your life more. That's not the point of spiritual life, is to kill off our egos and to be perfect, fairy-like beings that only experience good things, as if that would be productive at all. Upon your enlightenment, it's this understanding of work is kind of what we're talking about. We're coming out of Capricorn into Aquarius. There can be this real field. You know what? Screw that. I'm tired of biting the bullet. I'm tired of work. Let's just get out of here into the clouds, into the ethers. Let's just drift away. Yeah? But even after enlightenment, the enlightened masters don't just dissipate into the clouds. They stay right here in their bodies. They still feel things. They still feel negative things. They still get triggered by people. They still get pissed off at people. However, the appreciation and the understanding and the embracing of all of those things is so inconceivably powerful, that nothing really gets seen as bad or negative, even if it is a quote-unquote bad thought or feeling, All of those things can be appreciated for their full flavor because we are in touch with the deep story underneath it, and we can say, aha, look, it's me, it's my individual. Look at how beautiful I am. Look at how different I am from everybody else. Look, everybody else is having a great day. Everybody's at the movies and they're all loving this movie, and this movie is the worst thing I've ever seen. I'm sitting here for freaking 2 hours and I want to shoot myself in the face. Look at how beautiful my individual is standing out from everybody else because I have a different personal history and experience than them that has led me to have these feelings. And because I have this individualization that's different from everybody else, that means I have some unique perspective, gift, observation that I can put into some form of expression to give back to the collective, yes? And the real challenge with this is to find a universal language, and this is just something that we have to be easy on ourselves with, Because this is my own personal experience as well. You discover something profound, you awaken, you have your spiritual awakening. And you want to give the goodness and the incredible nature of what you're feeling to everybody. And so you start to talk about it and everybody says, religious bigot, shut up, So you tone it down a notch, you change the words and you share it again. And religious bigot, shut up, And then you don't even talk about it. You just show up and it's like the same thing comes back to you. And this is just painful. It feels like I try to communicate, and no matter what, there is a failure to communicate. And this is not actually a failure. This is our communication evolving. Our self-expression is evolving. It's like all these various tubes that we can communicate out of, all these different, megaphones, however you want to see it. It's like we've been playing out of this side and now we're starting to play out of this side. We've been playing up here and now we're starting to access these new tubes, and we're going to start communicating brand new ways. We're going to start exploring new means of communication, meeting new groups, new organizations, new technology that allow us to do this differently, and it's just going to be an experiment that we keep doing again and again. And inevitably we are going to reach out to one another because we are all simultaneously doing this. And really what we're doing is we're transmuting the old stuff. The reason it hurts, the reason it's painful is because that transmutation, that evolution is happening. So where there is pain, there is frustration, there is the desire to escape, and yet you can't. Commend yourself, because this is transformation and evolution that is fundamentally taking place, which means that you're doing your job and you can congratulate yourself, And it's not going to happen overnight, but we can enjoy reading chapter after chapter at a time. And who knows, maybe we can even enjoy our own story before it's finished. And that might even be more flavorful than just skipping straight to the end. All right, so we can take a look at your individual chart. We can look at this Mercury retrograde, the full moon, yes, the Pluto-Uranus square. And we can see what your individual expression is, what your particular past history is, and how we can best put that into service of healing and uplifting the collective. So in this endeavor, I am wishing the best for you and all of your beloveds. Namaste.